Hey, good morning. Good morning. Okay, so let's talk. So, trauma. Trauma is a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. Physical injury. I had to come straight out and just kind of give you that general definition because I want you, as we go through this quick video, I want you to always remember that. So, for myself, that was the first part of my existence from birth through I'm sorry, 8, 9 years old. That was physical, emotional, sexual, and so forth. Then once I was removed from that environment, then it became more emotional trauma. And one thing for me, and was I didn't understand that my brain learned, had been rewired to survival mode. Everything was survival, uh, whether it was, you know, it could have been anything, finance, money, food, nourishment, whatever. Everything was catered around me surviving. Uh, so I wasn't living life. It was more like just trying to get through the next day, get to the next day, because there was never any type of compassion or uh, positive parental guidance. There was no nurturing, no proper provision, and uh, that's what we need. And I talked about, I think in a previous video, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are certain levels in a person's life, certain needs that help us to reach uh, this kind of tier in life where we kind of have we develop self accusation, which we understand who we are, and which we're prepared for society. We're prepared. We have confidence and so forth. So I didn't get any of that. So long story short, one of the things that always plagued me, and it still does now, and I'm working through it, is this fear of abandonment, and that really kind of goes along with those who suffer trauma, especially childhood trauma. I'd say childhood trauma, um, and trauma bond for me also, meaning uh, this psychological attachment to trauma. You know, like it's just weird. It's weird, but um, I had to learn how to have total acceptance of myself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I also had to learn that it wasn't my fault. Uh, these people had some serious psychological issues, and wasn't my fault. Um, and I'm still learning that. It is hard. It's hard to do these videos, but I hope in my heart of hearts that someone will be able to understand if you suffer trauma. Remember, just distressing event or whatever, or physical, you have to first. One thing I've learned is you have to accept it as it is, and when I say accept it, that means be honest with yourself. It happened to you. Whether it might not have been physical child abuse. It could have been whatever, a domestic violence situation, whatever. You have to accept and say, it did happen. Then you have to. Second thing is not blame yourself because it's not your fault. We just unfortunately you just happen to be in a space with people who didn't respect you and uh, did not realize whom God placed in their life and how special you are. The other thing is, um, again, this fear of abandonment, uh, which caused me to be in a lot of several relationships, and I didn't want to let go. I'm talking about interpersonal relationships, girlfriends and so forth. Uh, and when they left or they felt like the relationship was not going to work or whatever, I thought it was my fault, and I just had this weird attachment to them. And I'm gonna be honest with you, mostly if I had a friend, I just had this. If someone showed any interest, whether it was a friendship or some camaraderie or whatever, I just was like, oh yeah, I just go into this bliss of, wow, they like me, they want to be my friend. It's craziness, man. What trauma can do to you, and what abandon someone when they abandon you. So when you hear people say you got abandonment issues, maybe we do, But one thing I've learned is I had to build my esteem, self-esteem, and I had to understand that um, that um, hmm, it's challenging, man. It's challenging. Um, Again, that's why I decided to do these videos because it just helps me, and hopefully I can help someone. And just if you don't get anything out of this, I know I'm sort of everywhere. Just understand this: that you are not alone. It's not your fault. You're beautiful. You're better. You're better than that. It's the problem is the people who did that to you, or the trauma, the experience you had. Uh, it just happened to just enter into your life, and it's not your fault.